Hey team, my name is T. Edwards and I teach leadership. Not the leadership that you may have heard before. This is going to be a little bit different. Today we're going to talk about the actual system that we use to achieve every goal we want to achieve. So let's get into it. Man, if you were with me on my last video, congratulations, you saw the interview, you had your own interview, you got the job. Congratulations to you. You are now a member of management. You're now ready to begin your study of real leadership. And remember, leadership, the way we teach it and study it here, is different than what you may have heard before. So team, today we are going to discuss the 5-step leadership model. The 5-step leadership model is what we use. It's a system that we've created that will allow us to hit any goal we could possibly strive for. Before we get into that though, I want to review. If you haven't been with me for the last few videos, let's review some of the lessons we've learned, but please go back and check those out. We talked about a lot of really cool stuff about leadership and a lot of things that you can learn. So go back, check those out. Don't forget to subscribe. I've got 2 subscribers and everything I'm doing is for both of you all. So anyone else who wants to join, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Let's review just a little bit about some of the things that we've talked about before. Remember our definition of leadership. Leadership is the relentless pursuit of a goal. That is it. That is the definition of leadership, the relentless pursuit of a goal. And remember, the rules of leadership are the same whether you're talking personal goals or professional goals at work. The rules are the same. We've talked about the number one lesson in leadership and the study of leadership is self-awareness, awareness of self. The first thing you're going to have to study when studying leadership is yourself. You're going to have to be intimately, innately familiar with your goals, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your enemy. And for those of you who don't remember, the number one enemy 99% of the time is going to be you. You are the only one who is typically going to stop you from hitting your goals. So again, go back, check out the other videos to learn more about that. The fundamental purpose of a leader, it's not to boss people around. It's not to take the arrows in your back. It's not to be the big boss. The fundamental purpose of a leader is to teach. Again, that's what you're going to be doing as leader. If you're leader of 1 or a leader of 500, the rules are the same. You're either going to be learning and teaching yourself or you're going to be teaching your team. If you're not teaching, you aren't leading. Okay, so that's a little bit of a review. Let's talk about the 5-step leadership model. All right. The 5-step leadership model is a step-by-step system. We talked about the importance of systems. The 5-step leadership model is a system that we've created that will allow us to achieve anything we could ever work towards. If you follow it rigidly, if you adhere to the 5-step leadership model as I teach it to you today, the rules are infallible. You can't lose. If you fail to hit your goal, chances are you have done something wrong and you have omitted a step in the 5-step leadership model. Again, the rules are infallible. So let's go into it. And I'm gonna need something to write on. So, okay, team, ready? All right, step 1 of the 5-step leadership model is to define the goal. Define the goal. That's step 1 of the 5-step leadership model. Now, what do I mean by define the goal? Okay, you're going to want to know as much about that goal that you've set for yourself or that's been set for you as you possibly can, starting with the what. Okay, you'll want to know as much as you possibly can. How about the when, the where, the how, the who, and the why. Okay, so Again, you may not know all of these things about the goal, but let me tell you this, the two critical components you're going to want to know is the what and the why. If you are clear on what your goal is, you know exactly what you want to do. You've got the hard part out of the way. Now, the second critical component is the why, right there. So many people fail to understand why they're approaching a goal, and that's critical. So again, you want to know as much about this as you possibly can. When? How about when this goal needs to be accomplished? When this task is due? Where? Where do you have to deliver the finished product? How you have to go about it, how you are to go about it, how you're supposed to do whatever it is that you're supposed to do. Who are the key players? Who do you need to consult with? Who do you need to be trained by? And again, we talked about the why. Now, if you don't know the when, the where, especially the how or the who, don't worry about that. The critical components, again, are the what and the why. If you know those two, you have enough to proceed. Don't worry so much about the when, the where, the how, the who. If you're working for someone, then chances are they'll give you a lot of these. Just make sure you're clear on them. But if you don't have them, you're working for yourself, for instance, and you don't know how you're going to accomplish something. You don't know when you're going to get this thing done. That's fine. As long as you know the what and the why, you've got enough to begin. That is step one, define the goal. All right, let's move on to step two of the 5-step leadership model. Step two is provide the tools. What do I mean by provide the tools? The tools are anything that you recognize that you may need to begin to approach the task, to begin to work towards the goal. Let's say, for instance, that your goal is to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. What are the tools you might need? I don't know. How about some peanut butter? And, my personal opinion is it needs to be crunchy. There's no such thing as a PB&J with smooth peanut butter, but again, that's just me. So you might need peanut butter. What's another thing you might need to make that PB&J? How about jelly? Anyone think of a third thing? Maybe some bread. Okay, what else might you need? Think hard. All right, unless you're going to spread these ingredients with your finger, you might need some type of a knife to make that PB&J. Once you identify all of the tools that you are going to need, that's when you can begin. Say, for instance, you don't know exactly what tools you're going to need. Start anyway and start learning that, because that is step two. If you don't identify those tools and begin to gather them, you're going to have a hard time hitting that goal. Now, team, remember, we've talked about this a number of times. The exact same rules apply whether this is a personal goal or a professional goal. So we talked about the PB&J. Let's assume that's a personal goal. What about if you're at work? Let's say that you've got a sales goal at work. You've got to really blast some sales out of the park if you're going to be number one on the team. What are some of the things you might need? What are some of the tools you might need to hit that sales target? Well, let me tell you, in just about any goal that you are going to have, I would suggest the first tool you gather is a plan. Doesn't really matter what the goal is. Always attack that goal, approach that goal with a plan. That's going to be tool number one. How am I going to approach my sales? What are some of the other things that you might need to hit that sales target? How about product knowledge? If you don't know what you're selling, if you don't know everything about it, that's going to make sales difficult. You might need product knowledge. What else might you need? Do you know how to sell? If not, man, you're going to need some sales knowledge, some training. All right? You're going to need to learn how to go about closing those deals. What else might you need to hit that sales target? You might need, I don't know, you might need some products to demonstrate. Think of all the things that you're going to need to hit that sales target and start to gather those things. That is step 2. Provide the tools. The rules are the same. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich or hitting that sales target. Whatever the goal is, step 2 of the 5-step leadership model is to provide the tools. Step 1, define the goal as much as you can, but as long as you know the what and the why, you can begin. Step 2, provide the tools. The things you're going to need to even begin to attack that goal, you got to understand those and gather those up. Ready to move on to step 3? Let's do it. Okay, step 3 of the 5-step leadership model. Ready? We're cooking with gas now. Step 3 is a means of measurement. A means of measurement, very important step. It's a critical step of the 5-step leadership model. I know that I say that they're all critical, but this one's important. A means of measurement. What do I mean by that? A means of measurement is how you tell whether you are progressing towards your goal or regressing away from it. And you've got to know that as soon as possible. Wouldn't you hate to learn, a month into a 3-month sales cycle that your plan is off? Wouldn't you hate to know that you are regressing away from your sales goal as opposed to progressing forward? Let's talk about losing weight. One of the key tools you're going to need for losing weight might be a scale so you can track, hey, is my diet plan effective? Is my exercise plan effective? Am I doing the right things? Am I losing weight? Am I staying stagnant? Or am I gaining weight? Step 3 is important because it tells you how you are tracking towards that goal. Are you on time or are you gonna be late? Or are you gonna go past your due date? Okay, a means of measurement is step 3 of the 5-step leadership model. Let's review. Number 1, define the goal. Number 2, provide the tools, everything necessary to approach that goal. And step 3, a means of measurement. The means of measurement to know how you're doing. Are you trending favorably or are you going in reverse? You gotta know that again as quickly as possible. Ready for number 4? All right, let's move on to step 4. You tracking? You with me? We're cooking with gas now. We're almost done. Step 4 of the 5-step leadership model is RE. And no, that's not my hood nickname, Ray Ray. What is Riri? Riri, I'm going to draw a star by Riri. This is the nuts and bolts of goal attainment. Riri is how we build effective habits. What is Riri? If you have a plan and you have a means of measurement, like we talked about in step 3, and you tracking your progress and you learn that you're not moving forward like you wish to, you may have to re-plan. Okay? What happens if you have a team and they don't seem as engaged as they should be? You might have to retrain or re-emphasize the importance of hitting that goal. What happens if you discover your team is lacking in some product knowledge? They're not as familiar with the product as they should be. You may have to retrain. Okay? So the this is an important step because it is where the habits are built. What type of habits? The success habits. The habits that will enable you to track towards that goal consistently. And the earlier you recognize from step 3 how you're progressing or regressing, the quicker you can adjust. And again, is all the things that develop good, sustainable success habits. Critical step, What are some of the other you can think of? Take just a moment and come up with some of your own. Meanwhile, let's get ready for the final step, step 5. Okay, team, this is it. We're going to bring it on home. Step 5 of the, you know what? Let's review first. Yeah, I'm gonna get a different color. I'm in a red kind of mood. Let's review. Step 1 of the 5-step leadership model is to define the goal. Step 2, provide the tools. Step 3, remember it? A means of measurement. Step 4, re. And step 5 of the 5-step leadership model, my favorite of the bunch, reward and recognize. It's my favorite because it's the most fun. Anytime that I get to cheer a team and tell them, well done, that's the fun one. That's the one that means the most. And you know what? That's the one that in all of my years experience, this is the step of the 5-step leadership model that is so often disregarded, so often forgotten. And what a shame. What a shame. A team breaks their back to hit the number, to hit the target, working overtime, coming in early, and we forget, and they hit the target, and we forget, we disregard telling them, well done. Pow, be gone. You're not a leader, you're a charlatan. And that just burns me up. So many teams have turned over. So many people have walked out the door because they weren't recognized for their hard work, their efforts, a job well done. Don't forget this one, team. Even if it's as simple as saying thank you when someone makes a personal or professional sacrifice for the team, for the organization, to hit that number for you. All right. Don't forget to reward and at least recognize them. Take them out to lunch. Come up, be creative. Come up with some really interesting and cool and fun ways to recognize the team. That's the fun step. All right. Whoa. So, step 5 of the 5-step leadership model is reward and recognize. All right, one more time, let's review. Step 1, define the goal. If you don't know anything but the what and the why, you can start. Step 2, provide the tools. You gotta gather the things necessary that you're going to need to approach that goal. Step 3, a means of measurement. How to know whether you're progressing or regressing. 4, reread. This is how the success habits are built. Sometimes you have to replan. You may have to re-emphasize the goal. You may have to re-implement the best practices. 5, my favorite, reward and recognize a team for a job well done. Listen, the 5-step leadership model is infallible. If you follow the 5-step leadership model and you follow it rigidly, you cannot fail to hit that target. I have raised my children using the 5-step leadership model. I have been very successful at work using the 5-step leadership model. I have taught it to many, many teams over the years. Listen to me on this one. Trust me on this one. Implement the 5-step leadership model when it comes to hitting your goals, and I'll see you at the top. As always, team, give me some comments, subscribe. I got 2 subscribers. I'm doing this for both of you all right? So leave me a comment. Let me know how we're doing. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know what you think about the 5-step leadership model. And as always, thanks for leading.